Welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another Spatial Exploits video. On today's episode, we have a lot of ground to cover, so let's dive right in. From 2011 to 2015, football journalist Simon Cooper and his colleagues at the Financial Times embarked on a journey to rank 69 clubs from Europe's top leagues by how well they did relative to their wage bills from 2011 through 2015. English clubs like Everton, Spurs, and Southampton excelled at being highly efficient with their player wages, but it was a club operating at the heart of the Spanish capital, Atlético Madrid, that came in at the top position. Oh, and if you're wondering, hometown rivals Real Madrid and Parisian giants PSG ranked in the bottom 15 in terms of wage efficiency. On the whole, what this study showed is that the player wages market is pretty efficient, meaning the better a player, the more wages he's able to earn. The study also showed that the transfer market is inefficient. In fact, much of the time, clubs ended up buying the wrong players as they spent extravagant sums to bring over flops. According to Cooper, the worst time to buy a player is in the summer when he's just done well in a big tournament. The reason for this is due to the player's success occurring at a time when the whole footballing community is fully tuned in, which can easily inflate the worth of a player on the backs of a few great tournament performances. Additionally, once the player is bought at an inflated transfer fee and has a long-term contract at his new club, he is also open to leaving behind the tireless work ethic and drive that brought about the success in the first place. Finally, if you buy a player because of a good tournament, you are judging him on a very small sample of games, which can prove to be a disastrous shortcoming both financially and tactically for a club and manager. This is why Sir Alex Ferguson of Manchester United is quoted as saying, "I was always wary of buying players on the back of good tournament performances. I did it at the 1996 European Championship, which prompted me to move for Jordi Cruyff and Karel Przeworski. Both had excellent runs in that tournament, but I didn't receive the kind of value their countries did that summer. They weren't bad buys, but sometimes players get themselves motivated and prepared for World Cups and European Championships, and after that, there can be a leveling off." And it is with this context that we shift our focus to Atlético Madrid's transfer of Udinese's captain and 27-year-old star man Rodrigo De Paul for €35 million on a long-term contract expiring in summer 2026. At this summer's Copa America tournament, De Paul was one of Argentina's best players as Lionel Messi and company won the tournament. His transition from the physicality of Serie A football to the artistic technicality of La Liga soccer remains to be seen, especially since his 2-year stint at Valencia from 2014 to 2016 did not earn many plaudits. But what is working in his favor is that he is at one of the world's smartest clubs when it comes to transfers, as the Financial Times study showed. He's also with one of the best managers in the world in Diego Simeone, who will extract the very best out of his talent. And to cap it all off, though critics say he had a flash-in-the-pan type Copa America campaign this summer, they cannot deny his equally marvelous Serie A campaign with Udinese, where he scored 9 goals and provided 9 assists, while generating 4.61 shot-creating actions per 90 minutes, which was 10th best in Serie A in the past season. He was also able to translate all of this individual success into team success as Udinese overachieved and was able to stave off relegation for yet another season. Only time will tell how this transfer will really play out at Atlético Madrid for De Paul, but there is a certain level of tactical analysis we can undertake in the present day to determine how Rodrigo De Paul can fit into Diego Simeone's existing Atlético Madrid side. So, let's get on to the tactical analysis. Before diving into the tactical analysis, let's take a look at how Atlético Madrid did in the 2020 to 2021 season that just passed. That was a very successful season for Atletico in terms of they won La Liga, but they did fail to advance past the round of 16 because they were knocked out by Chelsea in the Champions League. Copa del Rey, they were not in the final either because Barcelona and Athletic Bilbao went head-to-head there, and Barcelona came away with the Copa del Rey win. But unlike their crosstown rivals Real Madrid, who went trophyless for the season, Atletico Madrid did capture, as mentioned, the La Liga trophy with 86 points and 26 wins, which were both league leaders. For expected goals, they had 52.4, but they ended up scoring 67. which is a testament to the brilliant signing of Luis Suarez in the center forward position, because Suarez went ahead and captured that role and made it his own and put up 21 goals alongside with it to really bolster Atletico's attack. For expected goals allowed, they also did better than expected, with 32.7 is what they were expected to allow in, and they ended up allowing in only 25. And that was wholly made possible by Jan Oblak's brilliant goalkeeping. So with that league review out of the way, let's move into the actual team that Atletico will be fielding for the season ahead of us, which is the 2021 to 2022 season. Diego Simeone has fielded a 4-4-2 formation, and what it will amount to in this upcoming season is he'll start with Jan Oblak in goal with his excellent shot-stopping ability, and then he'll have a two-man center-back pairing of Jose Maria Jimenez on the left-hand side and Stefan Savic on the right-hand side. At left back, he has gone at times with Mario Hermoso, but overall, the traditional left back has been Renan Lodi, and then at right back, he'll have the English international Kieran Trippier. For the two-man double pivot in midfield, he will usually go with Saul on the left-hand side and Koke on the right-hand side. Out wide on the right-hand side, he has been known to field Marcos Llorente, so we'll slot him here. And then on the left-hand side, he has traditionally gone with Yannick Carrasco, so we'll slot him here. And then the two-man lineup is going to be Luis Suarez as well as the target man, and Joao Felix, who can build and play off of him. So this will be, for the most part, a starting 11 that Diego Simeone will select as his best option. He does have quite a few substitutes he can select from each position here, you can see. So Thomas Lemar can go into here to replace Carrasco at times. Hector Herrera is very good with this left or right hand role as a pivot. Kondogbia, same thing as him. Correa can slot in either on the right hand side as a winger, or he can come in as a shadow striker between Suarez and Felix, who if one of them are not playing, Correa can benefit from that. And then there are a few up-and-comers like Paulo here who can go onto the wings as well and cause a little bit of damage on the counterattacks. Diego Simeone has been tinkering around with some of his formations, so in 4 of the matches and another 3 matches, he did revert to a 3-man defensive line. So what that amounts to is Renan Lodi would be taken out of the starting 11 in those matches, and then Jose Maria Jimenez would move towards the center here, giving him a little bit more space. And he would bring in Mario Hermoso to the left-hand side as a center back. With that 3-man lineup, then you have Kieran Trippier and Yannick Carrasco on the wings. You can still keep the double pivot here between Saul and Koke. And then what ends up happening is Marcos Llorente here can go into the middle and become almost like a number 10 free-floating role with Joao Felix. So Llorente and Felix can also interchange, and then Suarez and Llorente here can also interchange. And so that's why in some instances throughout the season, you did see Marcos Llorente operating in these higher up spaces versus this wing area on the right-hand side. So he was sort of operating as a shadow striker next to Luis Suarez, while Felix became the number 10 trequartista type of player. If we revert back to the 4-4-2 formation, so just splitting everyone up yet again, so getting Trippier a little bit back, having the double pivot here with Llorente on this side, and Felix and Suarez up top. If we go back to a formation like the 4-4-2 here, one of the things that usually takes place when Atletico are building up is Carrasco and Llorente are given license to move forward, which allows Trippier on the right-hand side and Hermoso on the left-hand side to also operate in further offensive spaces. The other thing that takes place is Jimenez and Savic split out a little bit further, and Koke comes in between them to operate and help build up play with some of his progressive passing. Saul can come into the middle here, and also what takes place is Felix can come in, and Llorente can also come in, or at times Felix can go out to the top here and Carrasco can come in, so that the attacking setup can kind of operate in this way. And then over time this opens up these entire flanks here, so then there's overloading that can take place through the left back and the right back here in Hermoso and Trippier. So this is what Atletico looks like when they're operating on the attack and trying to be aggressive, whether it's a counterattack or through progressive passing and build up and dribbling into the opponent's half. So in such a model, it naturally begs the question, is a player of Rodrigo De Paul's caliber even needed? And if he is needed, where would he fit in? So definitely a team as smart as Atletico Madrid would not be bringing in a player like Rodrigo De Paul with his set of skills into the squad if he wasn't going to fit in. So one of the ways that Diego Simeone can benefit from having De Paul is by having Joao Felix, who did not have a great season, and there will be a lot of pressure on him to have a fantastic campaign this year and really have a coming out party of sorts. But if Felix goes back to a slow start, then obviously De Paul can come in. He's a very attacking oriented player, and in a few minutes we'll look at a bit of his technical profile from the expected goals and the dribbling and those kinds of perspectives. But also Marcos Llorente, so Suarez can go here into the Felix role a little bit up top. Llorente can become shadow striker, and De Paul can operate in Llorente's usual spaces while in attack. And this is the sort of formation that also with Argentina over the summer at Copa America, De Paul was fielded in. Usually there was Leandro Paredes in the defensive midfielder role for Argentina, and then De Paul was usually to the right of him in the right center midfielder role. And he was basically able to tear apart a lot of the opposing defenses at Copa America with his seeing eye crosses and passes into Angel Di Maria, who was usually operating in these spaces, so we'll make Llorente as Di Maria. And so Di Maria was good with timing his runs to get into the box here, and De Paul was able to basically find him on open scoring opportunities like that. And in fact, against Brazil, this is how that opening goal and the only goal of the game came to bear. So let's take a look at the composition of Rodrigo De Paul's technical ability through some advanced metrics. So according to Football Reference, for the last season where Rodrigo De Paul played for Udinese in Serie A, he put up the following metrics, and the percentile measures are in comparison to other eligible midfielders across Europe's top leagues. Clearly, the numbers here show that he's a very big offensive threat, and while defensively he does put in his fair share of blocks, he's not well known for that. So clearly he would have to play in advanced positions within Diego Simeone's starting 11s, or if he's coming off of the bench, he would have to be a direct replacement for Joao Felix or Marcos Llorente or any of the other wingers out wide, or some of the midfielder players either in the double pivot between Saul or Koke. And even in the double pivot, he'd have to play a role similar to the one Saul has, which is going and covering as much of the pitch as possible, but also being higher up than Koke. So Koke would then have to have a lot more defensive responsibility if he's paired up with De Paul in the double pivot. Speaking of Saul and Koke, let's compare those two as well in their metrics. So for Saul, he's a little bit more split in terms of his advanced metrics. He's a little bit more balanced out than De Paul is. De Paul is very offensive oriented, whereas Saul is naturally a bigger contributor defensively as well. So it makes sense for him to be paired up alongside Koke. And then with Koke, here are his metrics. So Koke is way bigger contributor to the progressive build-up and the movement of the ball into safer places so that the build-up can take place properly through his short passing and just a high completion rate, and also his progressive passing to ensure that the ball makes its way safely from the defensive half of the field to the attacking third. So all three midfielders are very capable and talented at the things that they offer, with Saul having the biggest defensive abilities out of the three, with De Paul having the biggest offensive abilities, and Koke having the most talent in terms of transforming the ball from defense to attack in a safe manner. As those advanced metrics clearly show, Rodrigo De Paul is an offensive dynamo, and what that means is he brings to the team a very high attacking intent, and he combines that with a work rate as well to match when he's on the offensive end. The challenge for him will be adjusting to Diego Simeone's coaching. There's been lots of news articles since the move to Atletico indicating that this was the only team he was interested in moving to all along. He was giving up the captaincy and the comfort of Udinese and Serie A to come over to a more technical league in La Liga and trying to fit in to this existing model for Atletico Madrid. And he realizes what a difficult undertaking that is, so he's made very clear that he wants to be in Madrid, he wants to play for Diego Simeone and to learn and work under him. And what that means is, on the defensive end, he is going to have to improve to ensure that Atletico's defensive capabilities and acumen do not diminish over time with him being in the side. Because while he can definitely create more and more opportunities for Atletico to score goals through this attacking intent here, he does bring with him a notable downside, which is defensively he's not been known to put in a ton of work. However, we can trust a very capable coach like Diego Simeone will be tinkering around on the defensive end to ensure that Jan Oblak has all the support he needs in front of him, to ensure whether that's a 3-man lineup at the back or a 2-man line at the back, Oblak should have enough men in front of him to ward off any challenges. And additionally, the way Atletico Madrid defend is they would come back into a 5-man lineup here if needed and really converge in. So even if De Paul is out of position at times, you will see a very, very organized front here. So whether he's pressing along with Luis Suarez when the opposing team has the ball up front, or he could easily fly in somewhere on these flanks as well and help out Llorente or Carrasco if they're tracking up ahead or if they're caught further up the field. So he can move into these spots too. Or at times, if he can't track back, Saul has enough speed to trail over there and De Paul can come into here as well. So defensively, there will be a lot of time on the training pitch that he'll have to work with Simeone and the other players to really hone in on those things and know when he's expected to be back defensively and contributing versus when he has the ability, as he's clearly shown all along, to go and turn defensive opportunities like interceptions and blocks into clear attacking opportunities out of nowhere. Overall, this is a very monumental signing. The fact that Atletico is able to get him for under 40 million euros is a very big accomplishment. At 27 years old, he does bring with him a lot of experience from Serie A as well as a stint with Valencia for 2 years in La Liga in the past. And it remains to be seen how he'll do with Atletico, but given the type of coach he's with, along with the high caliber players surrounding him and mentoring him, he will look to make good on this move to Atletico Madrid.